I've been thinking about Joseph and how his life really connects with a lot of us today. And Joseph is the guy we know as the dreamer. In fact, these days when someone hears that your name is Joseph, they could literally just call you the dreamer. We just assume that every Joseph has a dream. But anyways, we see that God gave Joseph this dream and he himself could not even interpret. The dream was interpreted by his family members. His brothers had an interpretation. His father had an interpretation. And Joseph himself did not know how to steward the dream in that moment. And that in itself is a lesson. Let me tell you something. A God dream intensifies humility, but ambition heightens pride. The Bible is full of people who God gave a word or a dream or a picture, and the very next posture that we find in them is that of humility. David was anointed king, yet he was still humble enough to go play the harp for Saul. He didn't taunt Saul with the fact that he had been anointed as king. Joseph remained Joseph. His position in the family didn't change because God gave him a dream. He wasn't trying to control his siblings or his parents, because a God dream intensifies humility, because you know that you cannot bring it to pass by yourself, and God will not put before you what you can bring to pass without him. Now, if the dream came from God, then the first thing that you enter is rest, because God shows you so that you can see a picture of the future. And God shows it long before. It is in the character of God to show things long before they happen, because his intention is to grow you up to the capacity and the stature where you can steward and handle correctly what he has prepared for you. Now, God has revealed to you so he can prepare you for it. So revelation is a signal that training has begun. The vision shows you the picture so that your heart can trust the process. So friend, every God-given vision intensifies humility. It is ambition that heightens pride, that severs relationship. It is ambition that makes you detach. And also, as I think about the life of Joseph, I think about the value of a good parental upbringing, because Joseph never had an encounter with angels appearing and disappearing. Joseph never had an encounter of angels disappearing and appearing. No thus saith the Lord moment. Even the interpretation of his dream was given by members of his family. The word of the Lord was enough for Joseph. He didn't have an experience, just a conviction. All he had was God's dealings with his parents and grandparents, which was communicated to him also. And sometimes being around people who God has spoken to and who God speaks to can become an advantage even when you haven't heard the Lord by yourself or for yourself. You need to realize that Joseph never had a thus saith the Lord moment. So how did he know not to sleep with Potiphar's wife? I hope you know that there was no Bible written at that time for Joseph to read and say, okay, I must not do this. It was a product of the values that had been handed to him by his parents. As I think about Joseph, I realized today, first of all, a God-given dream intensifies humility. It is ambition that heightens pride. And secondly, when God reveals things to you, it is a signal that training has started. And number 3, never downplay the value of people around you who God speaks to. Have a blessed day, friends.